Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to a brand new series here on Anime King guys. What if Naruto was the last Elemental Slayer? Part 1 guys. And yes, you all know that I'm gonna be canceling some of the what ifs on some of the channel guys, and yes, tomorrow you guys will be fine, note that. But you don't have to worry because new series are coming in to take their place. But I'll be telling you all tomorrow which one I'm going to be canceling, so just stick around. And yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to be telling you all of that guys, but new what ifs are coming and take their place. It's just the ones that are doing really bad that you guys seem to really hate, because I realize that, well, you guys don't want to see those, so I'm going to be starting some new one to capture you guys' attention, to bring you back guys. So yeah, I really hope you enjoy these new ones, and yeah, just sit back, relax, and yeah, enjoy guys. So yeah, remember to go ahead and check out the other what ifs. I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we jump right into this new episode? Begin now guys. Do I have to? The voice of a young man came out. As his voice was cold, however there was a bit of hesitance in his tone. It wasn't like he was afraid of others. He wasn't afraid of anything. However, he just did not like others. And they usually did not like him either. He was the last Slayer alive, an Uzumaki who had activated an ancient bloodline that had been diluted through the ages. At the age of 7, he was attacked by a group of Chunin, seeking to kill the demon. The attempt on his life caused him to awaken the first stage of his bloodline. After that, he fled the village, and he wandered around the world for the last 10 years, eventually coming to control and master his bloodline. It wasn't until a year ago that he returned to Konoha, as he found a nice cozy cave at the outskirts of the village. As he preferred a cave than a normal house. But now the third wanted him to take the exam, the genuine graduation test. Yes, Naruto, you can't keep hiding forever, the elderly third said with a small smile towards him. They stood outside the academy, as Hiruzen was in his Hokage robes, as Naruto was covered in a black cloak. As Naruto sighed as he slowly removed the last barrier between him and the world, as he passed it over to the Hokage, standing at 6 foot 5 inches, with a muscular and lean build. There was a feral look about him. The aura around him seemed rather dangerous. His skin color was deep bronze. It seems like caramel. There was red markings over his body. It seems like tribal tattoos. There was more intricate white markings inside the red markings. His once golden blonde hair was now a dark crimson, long and shaggy, going down to his back, as his bangs framed the side of his face. His once bright blue eyes were now a menacing ruby, with thin black slits in them, as the red rubies seemed to be floating in ink, darker than nights. The white of his eyes were dark, giving them a more menacing color. His teeth were rather sharp. You can see a fang poking out of his lip. 3 dark crimson markings came right at his cheeks as they went down his face, and they went down towards his chest where they formed a circular ring in a white circle right in the center of his chest. Red and black and white markings were all over his back, twisting and weaving together in strange tribal tattoos and markings. As he was dressed in dark, baggy pants that hid his feet, there was a pure white rope tied around his waist for a belt, with the ends of it being blood red. White claw wrapped around his forearm and hands, as his nails were sharp. Anvil bracers strapped over his arms. He also had 2 blades strapped to both of his sides that seemed to curve The design was very abnormal. However, they were hidden from view. The only thing he didn't like about himself was that he was so big. However, it was better than being a scrawny midget, in his opinion. "Are you sure there's not another way?" said Naruto, as Harrison could only smile at the young man's reluctance. He couldn't blame him, as he ushered him inside. Once Naruto was inside, Harrison made his way to Sunshin before Naruto could turn around, as Naruto snarled as the door in front of him opened up. He froze up a bit, seeing so much people in one room. As someone spoke up, "Naruto Uzumaki, correct?" As Naruto turned his gaze toward the scarred Chunin, who seemed a bit unsettled by his appearance, and especially his eyes. As Naruto nodded his head, however he was used to that. It was a general reaction. The Chunin smiled and introduced himself. "I am Mino Aruka, but for the rest of the day, please just call me Aruka-sensei," he said. "Now, if you'll please go have a seat, we'll get started with the Genin exams." As Naruto noticed that they all look a couple of years, maybe 2 or 1 year younger than him, he spotted a young Hyuga in the back. She looked away with a blush when their gaze met, as he figured that she would be less abrasive. As he sat down beside her, he decided to be polite and introduce himself. "Hello," he said. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki." Hinata Hyuga. Nice to meet you, Naruto-kun," she said. As she stood at 5 feet, 15-year-old Hinata Hyuga had a slender frame. However, her clothing was not doing justice for her, as she seemed to wear that to hide most of her features, especially her body. As Naruto sat down and folded his legs, as he brought his arms together and closed his eyes. It was a state of meditation. However, he had to be careful how far he goes, because if he tapped into it too deeply, his elements will come to the surface, and it can be very dangerous for the people around him. So he had to keep a steady, concentrated level of not diving too deep in anything, especially in a classroom full of people. After a few seconds, what it seems like Naruto, his name was called. As he opened his eyes, Aruka was looking at him, as he motioned for Naruto to join him at the front of the class. "Alright, we'll be doing the ninjutsu portion of the test, if you don't mind. I will ask you to perform the clone jutsu, the transformation, and the substitution, please." "Shadow clone," Naruto muttered. Without even performing a single hand sign, 2 clones poof into existence beside him. Aruka was shocked. However, he was warned that Naruto had excessive amount of chakra, keeping him from performing low-level techniques. However, the fact that he did not even use a single hand sign, he just muttered the words and the clones appear. It showed how much control he had. Suddenly, the 3 of them started to distort a bit, as Naruto transformed in the second, the other one transformed in the third, and the last one transformed into the 4th Hokage. Without a sound or hand signs, they dispel their transformation before they dispel himself, as Naruto was shown to be on the left, showing that he performed the substitution jutsu as well. "Excellent. Now, I've already been told that you can't perform genjutsu, but it is required to at least know how to break out of one, or deflect," said Aruka as he motioned towards one of his other tuning assistants. The man went through a few hand signs before Naruto felt the genjutsu take hold. It was a really basic one, a simple jutsu that robbed the person of their sense of smell. He honestly felt insulted at the pathetic illusion. He snorted as he exhaled whips of black smoke from his mouth. The illusion was instantly broken, as Naruto had gathered chakra in his lungs and expelled the smoke. Just out of habit, but it was enough to break the E-rank genjutsu. Good, Aruka said as he takes something on the board in his hand. "You can go have a seat now, Naruto-san," he said, as Naruto made his way and sat down. This time though, he kept his eyes open. He was honestly confused at how someone could fail that test. It was truly basic and, well, pointless to be exact. He could pass that in his sleep. That did not make a ninja. Just because someone knows those things, that doesn't mean that they could fight. As he noticed several girls looking at him with strange looks, several others looking at the black-haired teen that was said to be Sasuke Uchiha. As Naruto snorted once again, dismissing the Uchiha as nothing but a dysfunctional soul survivor Uchiha with an emotional dysfunction and mental disability. There was nothing special about him, his bloodline, or his deceased kin. However, he glanced towards Hinata. He was surprised by her. The Hyugas were stuck up, acting like pompous ass. However, she was shy and submissive. Her eyes were also a soft shade of lavender, while most of the others had solid white eyes. Even the way that she dressed was completely different. The Hyugas always prefer a robe-like attire. However, she picked something that she could hide in. If they were placed in the same team, you would have to help her with her self-conscious issues. A couple minutes later, they were led outside towards the training facility. As Naruto stood and crossed his arms, waiting for his name to be called. Much like the ninjutsu portion, they were being called alphabetically. There was only a few clan heirs that were skilled in Taijutsu. The others were pretty much worthless. As he growled to himself as he realized he would be stuck with a bunch of brats that couldn't do a damn thing. He just knew that it was a bad idea. He should have left and become a wandering mercenary or something. It would have been so much simpler and more enjoyable. Will Uchiha Sasuke and Naruto Uzumaki, "Ear up," Haruka said. As Naruto sighed, he made his way towards the circle and stood. When Sasuke stepped in, Naruto winced as the fangirls were screaming. He snarled as smoke escaped his lips. Sasuke lowered himself into a stance as Naruto watched him, until he shifted his foot a bit and leaned himself as Sasuke smirked. "Begin," Haruka said. Immediately, and Naruto moved as he swung his left foot. His feet tear into the ground as some dirt came up with it, throwing it right in Sasuke's face, as he had to close his eyes so he wouldn't get in dirt inside of his eyes. As Naruto pivoted and brought his right foot around, as he slammed it in Sasuke's ribs, causing Uchiha to lean over in pain, before he grabbed Sasuke and kneed him right in the stomach, cracking another one of his ribs. As Sasuke cried out in pain, he dropped to the ground in agonizing pain as he gripped his sides. He glared up at his right-ear opponent, before he slowly picked himself up. He clenched his fist before he moved forward. However, Naruto simply tilted his head before he drove his fist into Sasuke's guts. Sasuke spat up as he dropped. However, Naruto's knee slammed into his nose, throwing his head back, before he slammed his fist into Sasuke's chest, blowing him back towards the edge of the ring, as steam and black smoke came from the side of his mouth. Sasuke coughed before he picked himself up as he wiped his lips. "You're gonna pay for that," he said as he snarled angrily. Sasuke threw a fist, but it was a feint. His leg came up to knock Naruto down. However, Naruto grabbed his ankle before bashing him right in the chest, blowing him back as Sasuke pivoted on his one feet. As Naruto moved in and gripped him by the collar, a vicious grin came on his face. He pulled his head back before he slammed it right in Sasuke's face. The Uchiha collapsed right in his arms as Naruto released him. He fell as he was out cold. As the victor was declared by Mizuki, Haruka came as she rushed over to check on Sasuke. "The brat is fine," said Naruto. "Too bad his pride is gonna be scarred for the rest of his life." "Mizuki, keep an eye on the class while I take Sasuke to the nurse to make sure that he's okay," Haruka said, as he took Sasuke and Sunshin away with him. As Naruto walked back to where he once was until a hand grabbed his arm, a tiny one. As he turned, something struck him across the face. However, he did not even move as he looked towards the fist that tried to hit him because he would not call it a hit. However, the person was cradling their wounded hand after hitting him. "How dare you hurt Sasuke-kun like that? Who do you think you are?" He remembered the teacher calling her name. What was it again? Oh yes, Ami. As he looked towards the girl in front of him, Naruto's hand shot out and gripped her by the face. As he lifted her off the ground, everyone started to freak the hell out as they saw that scene. "I am Naruto Uzumaki, and the last Slayer alive. I will not tolerate your attempts to hurt me or insult me. I will not tolerate it from anyone," said Naruto. "This time, I'll let it slide, but If you do that once again, said Naruto. The purple hair girl started to cry as he added a bit more force. He threw her, she crashed on the ground. You will meet a swift end, said Naruto. Huh, sleeping dragon, huh? Kiba said in a joke. As all of them tensed up as Naruto glanced over his shoulders, looking towards Kiba, Choji, and Shikamaru was standing there. However, he wasn't offended. He liked the sound of that, a sleeping dragon. What better way to describe him than such? As he returned back to his spot and leaned against a tree. However, a frown came on his face. The day was gonna come that he's gonna ascend to his other level of his bloodline. However, he dreaded that day. His life was gonna become more infuriating afterwards. Why do Slayers have to keep evolving? He grumbled to himself. Time skip. Naruto was not pleased one bit. He was assigned to a team, but why this one? For the sole reason he didn't want the Uchiha on his team, but he was assigned to Team 7 with Sasuke Uchiha and Hinata Hyuga. Hinata did not anger him, but the fact that he was placed with Sasuke. That. And his sensei was 2 hours late, which was making him even more irritated. Screw this, he thought to himself. I'm going somewhere else. As he moved towards the door, however, it slid open, revealing their sensei standing there. You're late, said Naruto. Even Hinata seemed a bit upset, as they've been waiting for quite some time. Sasuke on the other hand was glaring at the back of Naruto, plotting his revenge. Kakashi simply eye-smiled at them, as he told them to meet him on the roof. Once they all arrive, okay, let's begin with some introductions. I'll go first to start things off. I am Kakashi Hatake, and I have no real desire to tell you my likes or dislikes, dreams for the future, oh, and I have lots of hobbies. How about you, Smokey, he said, looking towards Naruto. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I'm the last living slayer of the Uzumaki clan. His mentioning of being a slayer confused Hinata. Sasuke's glare just seemed to intensify. Kakashi's eye widened at that, when he heard that Naruto was a slayer. I like fire, caves and meat. I dislike arrogance, ignorance, stupidity in general, cowardness. As for my dream, it's personal, and I do not wish to share it. As for my hobbies, training and sleeping, I don't think sleeping could be considered a hobby, but okay. Ear up, White Eyes, he said, looking towards Hinata, as she seemed to sunk a bit into her jacket, and the innate name. I'm Hinata Hyuga, she said, as her voice was soft and timid, as Naruto wondered what made her so silent and submissive. I like gardening and flowers. I don't like bullying, needless fighting, or needless violence. My hobbies are making different medicines, using the herbs I grew in my garden. My dream is to one day unite the branch and main family of Hyuga and abolish the cage bird ceiling. Kakashi nodded. Your turn, Sunshine, he said, looking towards Sasuke, who was glaring the entire time. However, Naruto completely disregarded what Sasuke had to say, as he focused towards a lizard that was on the railing. Its body was a light, unique shape of blue, its underbelly being a beige color, unique red eyes with vertical, slit pupils. As Naruto held out his hand, the thing fearlessly crawled towards his hand, as Naruto brought it close towards his face, and went into a staring contest with the lizard. After a while, he heard laughter as he turned. What did I miss? He said. He turned towards Kakashi, who was eyes smiling, as Naruto realized they were the only ones left. You've been staring at that lizard for more than 10 minutes now. The others have already left. As Naruto gently set it down, before he stuffed his hands in his pockets. As he walked, Kakashi appeared beside him. I was wondering if you would answer a few questions for me, if you don't mind. You're a lazy fool with no sense of time, but fine. Ask your questions. As he stopped and turned towards Kakashi, as he crossed his arms. Earlier, you mentioned that you were a slayer. I once knew a Uzumaki and she mentioned that name, once before. Would you mind explain what a slayer is? As Naruto sighed, knowing that Kakashi was talking about his mother, not wanting to be overheard by anyone that might be listening in, Naruto reached out as he grabbed Kakashi by the front of his vest, using a sunshine that came out as a swirling vortex of fire that sucked them away as they reappeared outside of his cave. As Naruto released the man in motion for him to follow. "What are we doing here?" said Kakashi. "I don't want others to overhear what I'm going to tell you," said Naruto. "I may mention that I'm a slayer rather openly, but I would like to keep the details away from other people." As Kakashi walked with him, there was torches on the wall. After a couple of minutes, they eventually reached the large open chamber. Kakashi was shocked to what he saw, as it looked like a hidden paradise. Taking up most, if not all, of the chamber was a natural clear pool of crystal water, with a circular opening in the roof above it. Right in the center was a miniature island that led from the back towards the front, as there was a large hammock that was hanging there, and there was a few metal objects at the end of the island. Kakashi noticed another tunnel at the back. However, he could not see because there was vines blocking his eyesight. It must be Naruto's bedroom or something. "Come, sit," said Naruto, as he took a seat to the edge of the water. As Kakashi came over and sat on the rock next to him. "You asked what a slayer is, correct? A slayer is a Uzumaki that has awakened a very ancient and powerful bloodline that has once been said to be lost to us. It is so ancient that the last slayer to awaken his bloodline died 50 years before the first Hokage founded Konoha with the Uchiha clan. As of now, I am both the last known Uzumaki and only slayer left. However, my slayer blood is much more potent than what it should normally be due to my ancestry and lineage." "I see. However, it doesn't exactly answer my question fully. What is this bloodline you speak of? What make it as powerful as you say it is?" However, Kakashi had a thought, seeing that he saw Naruto tattoos, and also several times now he saw Naruto breathing smoke. The bloodline is called Karenketsu, and it has multiple stages. The first is the awakened stage, which is actually where I am right now. But I will soon be achieving the next stage, which is the ascension stage. When a slayer activates their Karenketsu, they are considered awakened. Slayers like myself develop the same markings like I wear, showing their progress to how far they are for reaching the next stage. They also gain a very powerful fire affinity alongside their natural elements, or elements which are earth and water for me. Like I said, the ascension stage is the next level. When a slayer reaches that stage, they will sometimes grow a pair of horns on their head, and they will also start to develop armor-like scales on their body. Some have even reported to grow a tail, but that was a rare trait, even when slayers were common. Anyway, the third stage is of the adult stage, which is a medium between the ascension stage and the final level, the elder stage. In the adult stage, the slayer's scales will grow thicker and denser while spreading more across their body and enhance their abilities, such as a boosted healing factor, hotter flames, and physical strength gain. In the last stage, the elder stage, the slayer scales will spread to a couple more places on their body. Their horns will grow more prominent, and elders have been reported to grow wings that actually give them the ability to fly. However, only few has lived long enough to ever reach that stage, mostly due to the wars. The clan wars, to be more specific. While everything isn't that simple, I'm sure you understand that I can't just reveal everything about my bloodline to you. Seeing that you are not one of my clan, nor is there a proper reason for me to explain everything to you. No, that's quite alright, said Kakashi, as he was a bit speechless by everything that he was just told. If you don't mind me asking, he said, what can a slayer actually do? As I mentioned earlier, we have powerful affinities. One is always fire. The other element or elements vary, depending on the person. These powerful affinities allow slayers to utilize raw, elemental chakra manipulation in combat instead of relying on ninjutsu. An example of which is one of the most basic abilities a slayer has, to breathe fire, but not as a fire jutsu. To give an explanation, Naruto turned his head. Kakashi watches Naruto breathe, scalding white hot flames from his mouth. Kakashi had to recoil a bit. Despite Naruto turning his head, the heat was insane. Black smoke leaked from his mouth as Naruto waved his hand. We are also gifted with great physical strength, said Naruto. We have powerful healing abilities that grows even stronger as our bloodline evolved. A longer lifespan, even beyond what the Uzumaki natural lineage is. However, despite that, I'm quite sure that you know that I'm not just a slayer, said Naruto. You mean the Kyuubi, right? Said Kakashi. Yes, on the night of my birth, it attacked Konoha and was sealed inside me by your sensei. As Naruto locked gazes with Kakashi, I figure I should warn you about that. I am not sure exactly how I will behave while going through the ascendant stages. I might go into a berserk rage if the Kyuubi axes up. For now, that is all I will tell you. As Kakashi nodded at that, alright, he said, thank you for your time. Oh, and don't forget to come by Training Ground 13 by sunrise tomorrow. He said his goodbyes as he made his way, as he walked down the long hallway. Once he was gone, Naruto got up as he stretched. Barbecue. Sounds good about right now, he thought. Time skip. Kakashi was far from weak. He had made Jonin at the age of 13. He was one of the elites of Konoha. He had been trained by the 4th Hokage himself. He had a Sharingan for a left eye. He had participated and survived the 3rd Great Shinobi War. He had been an Anbu captain. He had copied over 1,000 techniques. So why the hell was he getting thrashed by one of his prospective students? One that was self-taught nonetheless. The wind was knocked out of him as a fist buried in his stomach. His feet left the ground. However, another came down and slammed him hard. At the last second he replaced himself, using the substitution jutsu, which was a really good idea considering that the log exploded into 1,000,000 pieces. As Naruto slowly picked himself up. Kami, said Kakashi as he watched. That kid is a Taijutsu monster. He's a lot worse than Guy was at his age. Far, far worse, said Kakashi. As he remained hidden, he was still holding on to his stomach as he was feeling pain shoot through him every time he moved. He was pretty sure he had a couple of cracked ribs. As he leaned back against a tree trunk. This just isn't my day, is it? He thought to himself. Not only that, after being backed into a corner, he had discovered something about Naruto. He was fireproof. Also, kunas and shurikens did not have the throwing capability to even cut his skin, maybe poke or scratch him, but his skin was too durable for those simple items to hurt him. On top of that, for someone his size, he was fast as hell. And his strength. Kakashi could have sworn that he was taught by Tsunade the Sannin herself. This is getting boring, Naruto thought to himself. He already had the bells. Kakashi didn't seem to have noticed yet. What annoyed him though was the purpose for Kakashi lit a test. The man wanted them to work together, and despite not even knowing Sasuke, he knew that it was virtually impossible to work with him. He knew that the team was doomed from the start. However, there is no way in hell he would go to that academy. He created a clone as the clone leaped off into the tree line. A moment later there was a crash. Kakashi could be seen leaping from the bushes, making his way as the clone chased after him. That should keep him busy for now. As Naruto created 2 more clones, as he gave them each a bell. Locate the other 2 and give them a bell. Hinata should be easy to deal with. However, if the Uchiha get out of hand, knock him out and place the bell in his pocket or something. Both of them nodded as they made their way. As Naruto then leaped, he crashed right in the side of a tree as he watched Kakashi. As he was trying to put up some defense, however, Naruto clone was breaking down every defense that he put up. Kakashi was able to dispel his clone by a well-placed punch in the neck as Naruto drew his strange blades. They looked like they were carved out of a bone of an animal. They were curved with spikes on the side and the inner as well. As Naruto bent his legs on the tree, before the tree started to splinter, before he shoot off, the thing exploded behind him as he went after Kakashi. Time skip. It seems that Kakashi is late once again, Harrison thought, as he looked towards the Jonin senseis who had the test with their students, and a few others who want to attend to hear the passings of the team. But before he could get to it though, the door opened as Kakashi came in. His body was still smoking, as his Jonin jacket was torn and ripped in several places. His hair was a mess. There was a few bruises and scratches all over him, and his left sandal was missing. The crowd broke out into mutterings and whispering. I take it they passed, Harrison said. Kakashi coughed. Yes. Team 7 passed, he said, as he collapsed right into the couch. Anko walked over towards him as she licked her finger before. She placed it on the end of Kakashi's hair, putting out the flame that was still there. So you're saying that a couple Jennings did it to you? Impossible, the 23-year-old uncle said. However, Kakashi shook his head, confusing them. Not a team. Just one. Just one great, big, brutal one, said Kakashi. Everyone looked towards him for explanation. As Hiruzen sighed, he's talking about Naruto Uzumaki, a newly graduated genin that possesses a bloodline that not even the council would dare to mess with. Everyone looked shocked. Bullshit, Uncle said. There is no way in hell a fresh out of the academy genin could do this. I mean, come on. It's Kakashi. Uncle, Hiruzen said. He's a slayer. You remember what a slayer is, correct? As Uncle blinked as you remember everything that the third had ever taught her about bloodlines, as she focused on the word slayer, as she was there for a long while. You forget, didn't you? Hiruzen said. Yeah, kind of, she said, scratching the back of her head like an innocent child. Hiruzen sighed. Come see me in my office after the meeting. I will explain to you, he said. Alright, let's begin, shall we? Team 1. Fail. Time skip. Wait, so you're saying that this kid has dragon blood running through his veins? Uncle said in shock. Kakashi was in the office as he was dressed in a new set of clothing, seeing that the old one was a mess. That's just its name, Uncle. And while the bloodline does share a lot of similarities to dragons, there is no solid evidence that suggests that there's actual dragon blood flowing through his veins, Kakashi remarked, with a deadpan expression. However, Hiruzen simply smirked. Wait, she's right? Hiruzen simply smirked. Uncle yelled out, "Woohoo! In your face, Kakashi," she said. Hiruzen dreaded the moment these two ever met. Naruto has a short fuse when it comes to his temper. And Uncle, well, she was a jack of all trades. It will be wise if the two did not. Well, see you later, she said. I have to go track down the dragon dude. Before he could voice his opinion, she ran through the door, making her way. Hiruzen sighed. Maybe it was a bad idea telling her anything, said Kakashi. As Hiruzen looked towards him with a dreadful expression. We're all doomed, he said. Moments later. Shit. Uncle cursed. I have no idea what he looks like. As she slouched as she walked along the road. She has been doing this for the past few hours now. I should at least ask for one clue about him, at least. It would have narrowed down my search. What the hell do you mean you don't serve my kind here? Uncle turned her head as she heard someone bellowed out from a nearby shop. Slowly making her way, Uncle saw. It was a weapon shop as she poked her head inside. She saw a gigantic man holding the collar of the store owner. He pulled the man from the counter side and held him up in the air. The clerk's feet was a few inches off the ground. What? Just because I don't look like you, I'm instantly some kind of demon? I came here to spend my money at your store and you're complaining. Just how stupid can you get? Holy shit. I don't know whether to be turned on by this dude or worry for the little guy, Uncle thought. As Uncle watches he release the clerk, who was almost gonna piss himself right now. She watches he exhale as black smoke came from his nose. You know what? You're just like everyone else. Looking down on me because I don't look normal. You're not even worth my time, you asshole. The shopkeeper dropped to his feet, his legs finally giving out. As a person walked by her, their eyes met. As he ripped the door off the hinges, literally, before he dropped it to the side and walked out. Uncle slowly made her way as she leaped to the roof. Jeez, I feel bad for the guy, being ostracized because he doesn't look like everyone else. Uncle thought to herself as she noticed how everyone is parting away to give him a wide berth, not wanting to be near to him. From what the old man told her, he hadn't been in the village since he was 7, and he only returned a year ago, and he didn't really go out much. That meant he didn't really have any friends. From what the Hokage said, he liked the isolation because most people referred to him as a monster, demon, or freak. As Uncle couldn't help herself but frown at that. As she watched him walk. I see you found him. She came to a stop as Kakashi appeared over to the side. She almost cursed out loud, as he had scared the shit out of her for just appearing like that, She was so focused on her target she was not paying attention. Damn it, Kakashi. Don't sneak up on me like that, she hissed. As she jumped to the other rooftop, keeping an eye on her prey. As Kakashi followed her. Kakashi, she said, a somber look on her face. Was his life always like that? Unfortunately, yes. Without openly telling Uncle who he was, Kakashi decided to drop some hints, wanting her to figure it out herself. When he was younger, his life was far harder than what it is now, but that's only because people don't recognize him anymore. At the age of 4, he was kicked out of the orphanage and was forced to live on the streets. Almost every couple of days by that, he would be attacked by drunk civilians. He was sold expired food sometime. That is, even if they even sold him at all. And every year, around the Forticaya festival, mobs would hunt him down. Wait, him too? I thought the only kid hunted down that time of year was Uncle Paws. As she couldn't believe what she was seeing. As she remembered the third mention his name. Wait, that's Naruto? But that's not possible. The last time she saw that brat, he was a small tiny child, blonde hair and blue eyes. But now, he had red hair and red eyes. That's because of his bloodline, Kakashi said, interrupting her. Actually, almost everything you see is caused by his bloodline. They follow him as he made his way closer and closer to the forest. The only people that didn't treat him like a monster was those from the shinobi clans. However, things would be a lot more worse if the civilian populace found out who he was. However, Kakashi didn't know if it would be worse for Naruto or them, because the attitude that he had right now would kind of make him snap against them. As Uncle remembers some years ago, it was a long time ago, she had saw the boy getting beat up by a couple of chunin. Being who she was, she rushed in. However, she was outpowered. Back then she was just a chunin, just promoted, and there was a lot of them. Before she could save him though, she was knocked out. When she woke up, she was in the hospital, and she couldn't find the boy anywhere. She thought that they had killed him, and she felt like she wasn't even able to do anything, save him. A part of her felt like it was her fault despite just coming across him that night. She had tried to move on and she had made her way to the IT department. That was her dream as she continued to work hard to become stronger so no one can ever stop her from doing what she wanted ever again. That was 10 years ago, as she now looked toward the 17-year-old Naruto. She truly thought that he was dead, but here he was alive. Kakashi watched her face go through a fluctuation of emotions. Uncle, he said, are you alright? She brought her hand up as she wiped her tears, realizing that she was crying. There was only a few people that ever saw her let her emotional mask slip. That was Kakashi Kurenai, the third, her friend Yujiro, and that was it. Kakashi was the one that arrived that night, as he was the one that brought her to the hospital. And unlike the other piece of garbage in this village, some of them that hated her because of her burden, Kakashi didn't see her that way. He treated her like anyone else, and that made her respect him. Hey Kakashi, can I have some time to speak to him alone? Alright, but be careful. His temper is not something to underestimate, nor is his strength. If he gets angry, I highly suggest that you run, as fast and as far away as possible. Kakashi advised her as he disappeared in a whirlwind of leaf. Uncle was unsettled by that warning. However, she steeled herself and made herself move forward. However, he vanished into a tunnel at the base of a cliff. She found his choice of residence a bit creepy. However, she decided to make her way inside. With Naruto, same goddamn thing everywhere I go. A bunch of hypocritical bastards. And the old man wonder why I don't like going into the village. As Naruto pushed aside the bare fur, covering the entrance to his home. The lake and island was like his front yard. There was 3 other chambers that connected by 3 different routes. His bedroom, his kitchen, and a dining room. And there was also a guest room over to the right as well. It had taken quite a bit of work, but his place had running water and electricity. That is why he had even come back to the village. After all, out here he can be in the village without any problem. If he had went to some other village, there would have been a lot of troubles and problems, especially when they found out what he could do. And he enjoyed the peace and tranquility. His furniture was what he made. It was created by his hands. He never liked normal furniture. Most of them was fur from animals, they were soft. As Naruto went to his bedroom, which had a massive, thick, black wool fur cushion sitting right in the corner, and there was also a king-size mattress with different shapes and sizes and colors of wool fur. His dresser was something that he crafted himself out of wood, with tribal designs and dragon designs into it. As he took out his swords and placed them on the table, he took his bracers as he took off the wrappings around his arms and around his legs as well. As Naruto's ear twitched as he heard something, slowly turned, he slowly made his way, arriving towards the open area where the lake was. There was someone there, looking around. As Naruto paused, seeing someone just standing there. "You got 5 seconds," he said, "to explain who the hell you are and why the hell are you trespassing on private property." The woman jumped as she did not notice him, as Naruto's voice was deep and dark. "Oh, I'm Midarashi uncle," she said. "I don't know if you remember me, but She regained her bravado. "I tried to save you from being attacked by some chunin 10 years ago." He tilted his head. "So what? You want a medal or something?" he said. Uncle knew that it was a self-defensive mechanism that he put up, as she had one herself. However, for some reason his seemed to get under her skin though. "Look, Uncle, was it? It happened 10 years ago. Get over it. It's not like anything can be changed about it, and if I knew what I know now, back then, I would have told you to screw off, because if you had done something, my bloodline might have not been activated." As Naruto turned to walk away until someone grabbed his arm, she pulled him back. "Asshole," she shouted at his face. "I was going to see if you wanted to be friends." She was a fair bit shorter than him. However, she stood. With a strong demeanor, she glared at him. "But you're nothing more than an ungrateful bastard who doesn't even know when someone's trying to be nice, not even if that niceness come up and bit him right in the ass." As Naruto simply stared at her. He did not blink, he just looked at her. She started to get a bit freaked out, as she felt like she wanted to shrink in on herself for what she just said. However, he then laughed. He started to laugh, which confused her very, very much. And he just laughed for a few minutes, as Uncle stood there still not knowing how to react by this. As he wiped an imaginary tear from his eye. "That was a good one," he said. "That's the first time anyone has the balls to stand up to me, and I have to say, I kinda like it," he said. "Huh?" said Uncle. His reaction threw her for a loop, as he walked around her and made his way towards his island, as she realized that he was testing her will and conviction. In simpler words, he was wondering if she would just roll over, or she would stand her ground and strike back. However, it was true. If she would have interfered that night, there was a chance his bloodline might have not been activated. Uncle rushed as she catch up to him as he reached towards a curtain of vines. As he used his hand to part it, she noticed that he was holding it open for her, so she followed. Uncle was lost in the natural beauty of the environment once more. "What is this place?" "I found this cave when I came back to Konoha last year. Since then, I have carved a few rooms out in the back to make an actual home for myself, while this here's my personal safe haven, my happy place, as it were." As he walked over towards his hammock and lay down in it, the tapestry of vines blocked out all the sun that would have come down. "Did you know," said Naruto, "you're the actual person that I allowed to set foot on this island since I created this place?" "Huh, why am I so special?" she said. As Naruto shrugged. "I don't know. I guess because you're the only person to stand up to me like that. The old man doesn't count." What he didn't tell her though, was it was what she said. She wanted to be his friend. People are usually intimidated by my size and attitude, and tend to back off a lot instead of arguing or fighting, especially after they find out just how strong I am. Because of that, I guess it's just refreshing when someone stands up to me. It keeps me level, you know? Really. I only respect strength now. Cowards just piss me off. Uncle spoke up after a few moments of silence. "You're not like I thought you would be," she said. "Granted, it's been 10 years since I last saw you. However, I kind of thought that you'd be like, well, what you were back then. Energetic, full of life, always cracking jokes and pulling pranks. You would always yell at the top of your lungs that you'd be Hokage one day as well. Naruto snorted. His eyes became a bit unfocused and cold as well. So it fooled you as well, huh? He said. Not surprising. Not even the old man could see through my mask back then. The reality of it all was that back then, I would actually cry myself to sleep at night. My mind was so screwed up at that time. I was actually looking forward to the beating, because it meant that I still exist, that I was still alive, that I was not just some simple being that is not acknowledged by anything or anyone. Outside of the beating, most people would just ignore me, like I did not even exist. Apart from the old man, barely anyone cared about me back then. I don't know what to say, she said, as she lowered her head. However, he slapped her on the back of the head, as Uncle looked up with a glare. As Naruto reached behind him and pulled out a flute that he had left in his hammock yesterday. It was painted snow white with a dragon going through all the holes. Then don't say anything at all, Naruto finally said to her, as she frowned and pouted. However, he started to play, and she was shocked. He closed his eyes, and for a few minutes Uncle just stood there, listening to what he was playing. A smirk came on Naruto's face as he saw that the music had enraptured her, so he decided to play a little joke, adding his chakra into the flute. It was specially crafted with seals all over, as Naruto added in one of the only genjutsu that he actually knew. It was to tamper with someone's feelings instead of giving them a view of different reality. Anko felt herself start to get more hotter, as her heart was beating a bit faster than usual for no reason. The chakra-infused sound waves were resonating off the cave wall, and they were growing stronger. Anko felt a fire building in her core as she started to slowly bite her bottom lip, as she tried to fight off the sensation, as her cheeks started to turn red. However, it was a fight that she was losing big time. She turned away from Naruto as she tried to gain control of herself, but it was not working. A feeling of pleasure started to grow even harder and harder to control as the song started to increase in speed. As Naruto increased the music, she gripped the waistband of her skirts, as she bit her lip even harder, as she braced her hand against the pole. It looked like she was relaxed, but she was not, as her body was starting to betray her. What the hell is going on, she said to herself. Why am I behaving like this? This shouldn't be happening. As the music was about to reach its high point, however, it suddenly stopped, leaving her hungry for more, as she sunk to her knees. Then she heard laughter, as she saw Naruto laughing at her. Her eyes started to twitch violently as she attacked him. Naruto stood up as he backed away from her punches. However, Anko jumped right on top of him, knocking the flute out of his hand, as she pushed him back, pushing him until he tripped on one of the stone backwards as he fell. She landed right on his waist. She pulled her fist back, however, he caught her wrists, both of them. Let me go, you bastard, she said, and take your punishment like a man. Why don't you make me, said Naruto. Naruto wasn't sure what it was, but he leaned in. Fine then, you asshole. Uncle was cut off as Naruto kissed her. A sensation flooded through her. It felt like sparks were running through her skin, as he pulled back with a grin, as something happened that shocked him. She released her weight as she lied on top of his chest and kissed him. This one was filled with passion, as the kiss was intense. Uncle, shut up, she said. You caused this. Now fix it, as she continued to kiss him. As Naruto realized there was no escaping this. She wanted him to fix it? Fine, he will fix it. Uncle yeeped as she was flipped over as he pinned her to the ground, under his much larger frame. As she looked up at him, as she watched smoke bellow from his mouth, as his body seemed to get hotter, making hers intensify. And then things went crazy. The aftermath be damned, the both of them thought. Time skip. I would kill you right now, but Uncle trailed off, as she was lying on her back, a very soft, comfortable wool fur covering her naked form. But she said, turn away. I can't feel my legs, you asshole. Hey, you're the one that told me to keep on going, said Naruto, as he had just gotten out of the shower, as he dressed himself in a fresh pair of pants. Just so you know, he said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to push things so far. I always have a problem when knowing to quit. So I've noticed, she said, as she still was looking at him, as she was referring to his godlike stamina. As Naruto started to bind his arms and place on his wrist guards, Anko looked at his back as she felt strange. Despite being so abrupt and sudden, she had enjoyed every single second of it. She had absolutely no regrets. However, a part of her felt like it was meaningless to him. Go ahead and jump in the shower while I get started on breakfast, he said, as he placed on a strange necklace around his neck. She watched him. However, he said something next. You're welcome to stop by anytime. Strangely enough, you made this place a lot better, said Naruto. In a whisper to himself, however, Anko overheard everything. Anko looked towards him with a shocked look as he walked out. The thing that most people did not know about Anko was, well, she had not been with anyone else. Yes, it might seem strange the way that she dressed, however, that was just a part of her coping mechanism. There was a reputation that she had because of who was her sensei, and that gave her a bad reputation, and most guys just want to claim that they bed her. However, she did not fall for any of those, and it got her to a point where she started to not trust anyone around here. And she never really been with anyone in that way before. Despite the way she act, she wasn't ever with someone in that way. However, despite being dominating and manly, Naruto was patient and soft with her, which shocked her even more. He didn't rush anything, as she was his first time, and it was the best time that she could ever experience. There was just something about him which she couldn't understand. Despite just meeting, there was this strange connection as it was hard to explain. As she slowly rolled over in the bed, her mind was just, well, it was a lot to take in right now. As she wondered where this would go though, she was curious. But guys, be and subscribe right here for what's next person do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share this with your friends in social media platform. And also guys, remember to stay tuned for the rest of what is coming your way. And I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.